What's up, guys? Happy New Year! It's 2023 finally. We can now say goodbye to 2022, but 2022 had a lot of great horror films. Let's hope that 2023 has some even better or just as good, as well as other films as well that are non-horror. Today, so as you may, as a lot of you may know, this month actually is the first Friday the 13th for the year. I think there's another one in October as well, which is perfect for the Halloween season. But for this Friday 13th, I'm going to go ahead and for the next 12 days up until next Friday, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on each entry in the Friday the 13th franchise, beginning with the original today. And then on Friday 13th, I'm going to give you guys my Friday 13th ranking for the first time. I know that's going to be a lot of fun to try to figure out which ones I like the best and which ones I like the least. But yeah, let's kick off this series of Friday 13th videos with the original Friday 13th classic. So the original basically follows. A group of counselors that attempt to reopen Camp Crystal Lake after events happened about 2 decades earlier. Supposedly, a boy drowned in the lake, and they had to close the whole camp down. But now these young counselors are now going to attempt to reopen and start business again. But unfortunately, somebody is going to make sure that doesn't happen. So every one of them. They soon discover that they begin to get picked off one by one, and that's the basic gist of it right there. Honestly, this is one of the better of the series, even though given it is the first one. Usually, the first one's always the best one. For me personally, I disagree. I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's gonna be my number two on my ranking. There's one other movie that is. I find a lot. I tend to enjoy a lot more, and I'll give you a hint. I'm sure you can probably guess which one it is. It has an awesome, badass soundtrack, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what it is. Jason Williams. But yeah. Starting off with the positives for the original. I mean, I love the whole whodunit thing. I love how that played on with the whole POV shots that they kind of took inspiration from the original Halloween. Um, the good thing about this movie is that especially it's best for first time watchers. If you've never seen it, you don't know who the killer is, and I like that idea. You know, the fact that you're basically anytime that the killer is around and watching, you see it from their point of view, and I really like that. Um, there are some really good kills in this. Some of them are off screen, which is kind of disappointing because there are some that I would love to see they actually be carried out, and that'll kind of fall into some of my negatives. But yeah, the probably the most memorable kill scene is probably going to be Kevin Bacon's arrow through the neck. Which one aspect of that also falls into my negatives as well, and I'll get into that shortly. But yeah, and like I said, the cast. I mean, most of the cast is pretty much forgettable. But like I said, Kevin Bacon is one of his earliest roles. I think it's best remember. He's best. The movie is best remembered for him. Uh, Even though it was a smaller role, it wasn't really a leading role, but it was a smaller role. But we got to see enough of him to kind of appreciate his involvement in the movie. Um, um, and by any means, Friday 13th, it's a classic. You know, it's not perfect, though. Is it not the worst or bad either? It's one of the better slasher movies in the 80s that like I said, took inspiration for Halloween and would pave the way for other ones like My Bloody Valentine and April Fool's Day and Nightmare on Elm Street. And it is among one of the better slasher movies, better in comparison to some of them trashy ones that have come out that really have lack creativeness, like One I saw actually for the first time ever, which I wish I kind of hadn't watched it because I really didn't see the point. The Mutilator. I heard something about a sequel is coming out, so I went back to say, oh, I guess, and that movie has actually got an anniversary coming up this week, and I'm gonna do a review on that one as well. I'm gonna give you guys my full thoughts on the Mutilator too, but it's yeah, it's way below where I put Friday 13th, but yeah, that's basically most of the positives I have for about Friday 13th. Now let me get into my negatives. Now I mentioned about let's see, I mentioned about Kevin Bacon's death scene with the arrow in the neck. If you've seen the uncut version, you'll know what I'm talking about. When the arrow goes through the neck and the blood starts to spurt out at first, and then it cuts to an extra scene that was actually cut from the original theatrical cut, where you can see where the arrow, the blood, all that blood is spurting out, from the front face. You can see where it's kind of fake. That's where I have a problem. It just looks looks so unrealistic. It looks fake, and it's just too much there. They should have just left that part out and just stuck with. They shouldn't even put that in an uncut version because that just doesn't look. That just doesn't look good. But aside from that, it's a very memorable death scene. It's one of the most memorable death scenes in the franchise. Another issue I have is there's a right after that scene there, it cuts to let's see what is it? I think it's Marcy. It's Marcy, I think it is, or it might have been Brenda. I think it's Marcy. Whenever she's going to the bathroom and she goes into the rain. You can see from the distance where the rain is falling. It doesn't look like real rain. It looks like it's just specks of white that's just flashing on the screen. It doesn't look like rain at all. Especially, and also in another scene where you see Brenda sitting at the desk or reading or whatever, and you see the rain falling, and it doesn't look real. It just looks like specks of white. So it looks just fake. It looks kind of unconvincing. Aside from that, it's very entertaining horror film. Definitely a horror classic to me. It's one that I always go back to on Friday 13th. Every time Friday 13th occurs, I always have a marathon, and obviously it's the first one I watch because I try to watch them in chronological order from the first all the way to the remake. But yeah, Friday 13th, not perfect, but definitely not the worst. It's a classic for me. I find it really enjoyable. But yeah, that's it. That's it for my review for Friday 13th, 1980. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on the original Friday 13th? Is it one of your favorites in the franchise? What is your favorite in the franchise? Stay tuned for tomorrow. I'm going to be dropping my next review for Friday 13th Part 2 tomorrow. But I love you guys. You guys are the greatest. I really appreciate your support. It really means a lot to me. Also, I hope you caught my top 10 horror films of 2022 that I dropped earlier today. I'm going to be getting my top 10 movies of 2022 as soon as possible, as soon as I can get it done. Once again, I love you guys. You guys are the greatest, and I will see you in the next one.